Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
All right, sisters, so let me share with you a piece of advice, a piece of wisdom in the 47 years I have been on the planet, 47 and a half, and something that's been very, very relevant isn't even the term. It's been a conversation I've had recently with a number of people in my life over the last couple weeks, and that is that when it comes to relationships, that could be your marriage, could be a business relationship, a friendship, relationship with someone in your family, your parents, brothers, sisters. If you want to have the fastest track on how to fuck up a relationship, do not make clear agreements. Live your life based on assumptions and expectations and what you think they really meant when they said this. And no one's really talking about what they fucking want and pissed at each other all the time and, resentful. And it's a mess. It's a fucking mess. And it can be on a very small level or it can be on a big level. Okay, so let me give you an example. So I remember when I was in network marketing. So I was with a company called doTERRA, great company. Decided to leave after about a year and a quarter maybe because I just really, it was important for me to be all in with coaching. At the time, we had our chiropractic practice on the market. We ended up just closing the doors. We actually never had someone to buy the practice, so we just closed the door and walked away. It was a few more steps than that. It was a lot more steps than that, but we decided just to close because my passion, my heart, what I knew was really what I'm designed to be doing here on the planet. A big piece of that is to help women see what they can't see. And that's what I really do as a coach. And so I would decide I'm going all in. So when I used to be part of network marketing, there would be times I wouldn't make the clearest of agreements. I thought they were clear, but apparently the outcome did not show that way. And some thought that at first I'd be helping them to sign people up. I'd be helping to teach classes for them. I did a lot of their training. And the agreements, although they were set, they were like maybe not as certain as they could have been. And so when I didn't have people on my team that were producing and pulling their weight and following through, like I'd get fucking pissed. I get pissed. And when it would start at first, because I'm just someone who is like I work. You give me something to do, I will fucking get it done and then some. That's just who I am. You can call it work ethic. You can say it's just kind of part of my DNA, like whatever. That is just who I am. So my expectation when I do business with people is that they're all going to be exactly the same way. They must be, because even with network marketing, it's, you have your own business, right? With a network marketing company. Oh no, I was very fucking wrong with that assumption, which most assumptions are wrong, right? They're not going to, it's based on information that you believe to be true and is not necessarily true. So I had agreements that were not clearly made. And then when the people on my team didn't show up from the way that I think that they should, or I wanted them to, I would get mad. And it was all based on that, on not having a clear agreement. Like not having clear agreement. So what ends up happening in these relationships? And again, it could be related to business for you. It could be with marriage. It could be with friendship. It could be with a coworker, business partner, your mom. But what happens is we spend so much fucking energy wondering when they said this, did they really mean something different? Getting pissed and creating all sorts of stories, like thick stories of how they don't appreciate me and don't they know how hard I'm working and how could they not do this for me? Why did they not call me? Like it is just, as I said before, like it's just a big fucking mess. It's a waste of time. And it really comes down to not being honest, saying, hey, this is what I expect of you. This is what works for me if we are to do business together. This is what's required if we're going to move forward with this in business or this relationship or this friendship. Honesty of just like, hey, here's what's required. And you don't have to be a bitch about it. You don't have to be an asshole. They could just be like, hey, look in order for this to work, this is what I'm going to need. Can we have an honest conversation? So it's just really clear. Like, I have not had anyone in my life before when I've come at them with that energy. Come at them is not a good way to describe it. When I have communicated the message in that way of, hey, being just like, hey, I just really want to clearly understand what you need in this, and I just want you to clearly understand what I need in this, so we can really avoid any kind of misunderstandings and just save us a lot of time. Would that be okay with you? Like, imagine, sister, if you're on the other end, we're just like, hey, I just want to clearly understand what you need, and for you to know what I need, so we can just like, we can make this work. Like, what an honest fucking conversation. And it's one that, most of the population doesn't have because they're afraid of getting rejected. They're afraid of how they're going to sound. They're afraid of the person not liking them. They're just fucking afraid. And there's so much time that's wasted, sister. Oh my God. When I have some conversations with my husband about business partners and clients, and, when I have some conversations with my own clients, and things that happen within their businesses or with their marriage or partnership and their friendships. And it's just like, well, what was the agreement? Like, what do you mean? Did you have a clear agreement of what was expected of that person and what they needed from you? Like, well, no, but they should just know these things. Really? They should read your fucking mind. That's fantastic. Are you friends with David Blaine? Like, what the fuck? That's not how this works. Honest conversation, sister. Like, it is so freeing. It is so real. Like, to just be honest. Imagine that. Imagine that we live in a world where people are just honest about what they need. There's no guilt about it. There's no shame. They show up powerfully and say, hey, cool, this is what I need. What do you need? Let's see if we can make this work together. Like, what a candid idea, right? But again, the soonest way to fuck up a relationship is to not make clear agreements. So guess what? The way to create a marriage that's amazing and epic and producing a legacy, the way to communicate in business with those who you either do business with, clients, customers, patients, those that you actually are in partnership with in business. The best way to really create solid relationships with your family, the best way to really be the best friend and create relationships with friends that matter and that make a difference and are deep, and really the underlying value, which is about connection, because that's a big piece of why we're here on the planet. We just all want to connect. We all want to belong to something. We want to be part of something big. The best way for you to create all of those examples that I just shared is to create clear agreements. So here's your more tip for today. Look at one relationship in your life that's it's just messy right now. And it doesn't have to be to the extreme, right? It doesn't have to be that you guys are fighting like cats and dogs. Say if it's marriage, you don't have to be dealing with daggers, texts from your best friend. Like, it doesn't have to be to that extreme, or it could be, but just where do you need to clean things up in one, start with just one relationship in your life. So where is that? What is the relationship? Who is the person? Who are they to you? And the second piece of this is have that powerful conversation. Just be real and honest. I have a hunch, and the way that I have found this to go down in my life, and that often goes down in clients' lives, is when you're just really real and honest, most people embrace that. Now, will you get the occasional crazy person, like just fucking psycho, that does not jive with this? Yes. Yes, that's been my experience. Yes, that's been the experience for some of my clients. And you know what? There's such a gift in that, because that person often shows their cards. They really show up as who they are. And what that person often has discovered, when I've often discovered when it's happened to me, where it's just kind of like, holy shit. I knew something was off. I felt something was wrong. And then when it was not even just like calling them out in their shit. It's just like, I just got honest and said, hey, look, you know what, like, this is just not working for me. I would like to make this work. Can we talk about it? If that person freaks out at you, explodes, they're showing you exactly how things were going to be going down at some point in the future. You just fast-tracked it. You just got there, right? You got to the honest conclusion, which is most likely this is not a good person in your life. This is a toxic person who does not have the right and does not deserve to be in your life. However, I'm going to have you just understand that most will not go this way. They won't. Now, they can be awkward, right? They can feel weird. They can feel uncomfortable. They can feel even scary. It's okay. Because it might just be the time in that relationship that you're finally getting honest. It might be the time in the relationship you're just kind of like peeling off the layers and just saying, hey, look, this is just who I am. And I would really like to make this work. And this is what I need. That's a hard thing. We often will take care of somebody else's needs before we will our own, which is messed up. And I know it's not out of good intention. I know it's like, well, let me take care of someone else before me. Like it's about no, it needs to be about you first. Own that, sister. So yes, it could feel weird, awkward, strange, uncomfortable. And it might take some time to kind of flex this honesty muscle. For some of you, it's like flaccid, man. It's like not even there. You're like, where is that muscle in my body? Oh, I don't even see it. Okay, so it's going to take some time to really get that strength. And that's okay. Be okay with the process. Anything new is going to be uncomfortable at first. It's going to be hard to learn something, right? My oldest son, Tyson, who's 6, he loves some of these strategy games. They're kind of like battle games, but they're not really like fighting and stuff so much, but it's like strategy, almost kind of like the Minecraft kind of style of games. And whenever he tries a new one, he'll be like, oh, I can't get it, mommy. And it's like, buddy, like, it's okay. You'll get it. I know you will. You're a smart boy. You will figure it out. Because look at me and go, mommy, how do I do this? And I'm just like, dude, I have no idea. I grew up with like Pac-Man and like a joystick and Atari. Like, I don't get all this new stuff. Knock yourself out. And I think it's cool because the skills that he's learning is how to figure things out, which I think is valuable to learn. Especially in today's schooling system where kids are just required to vomit the answers on a test and somehow that's great. And it's like, no, like you got to figure stuff out. This is how the world works. So when Tyson will come to me with that, like I really just share to him, I'm like, look at buddy, remember that last game that you really loved for a little bit of time and it was hard at first and you didn't know what you're doing and then you got it, right? Because you practiced and you got better over time. So the same thing happens when you're honest in conversations, sister. It might feel this way at first, but I'm going to really strongly encourage you to stick with that, to really create clear agreements, like clear, so that there's no misunderstanding. Now, will agreements sometimes not be upheld? Sure. And that might come from your end or theirs. But I'm telling you, this is one vital piece that will absolutely transform some of your relationships, sister. This is so clear. And you know what? The 6 women that came to my Women Wanting More live event just about 2.5 months ago got really clear on a lot of their agreements. They sat down. A lot of these were with their husband or significant other and just clearly were able to communicate like, hey, this is really what I need. This is how I need you to show up as my husband. This is how I want to show up as a wife. How do you need me to show up for you? It sounds like kind of so like therapy like speak, doesn't it? Kind of like, oh my God, who speaks like that? Well, if you want to create clear agreements, you want to really minimize the misunderstanding. You want to create a really solid connection with that human. Create these clear agreements, sister, just like these 6 sisters did. And really saw relationships after coming back, after they got clear on what they wanted at the live event, after they really figured out why it mattered, and they learned how to really put this into action and came back into their families and into their businesses and into their, other relationships and just were able to communicate this clearly. And it was just huge for them. So here's what I want you to do. If you would like to learn how to really do this, because I can tell you for some of you right now, if I was to ask you what you want, you're like, I don't really know. Because you haven't really thought about this yet. That's okay. But if you want to really have it where this year, 2017, is the year to get clear on what you want, is the year to really understand why you want the things you want in your life, and is the year for you to really learn practical tools, not vision board shit, but like practical of how do I really translate this into my life? How do I set this up with results and outcomes that are measurable, specific, realistic, with a timeline, and really helps me get what I want? This is what I teach the live event, compressed in 2.5 days to save you a hell of a lot of time and money and get there faster. So here's what I want you to do, sister. Head over to drkarenosborne.com/live event. You're going to enter in your name and your email, and you're going to get immediate access to the Women Wanting More live event movie. You're going to see what the experience was like for these 6 powerful women and what they got on the other end, in addition to interviews after the event, 4 to 6 weeks afterwards, to really see how did things like keeping agreements, and by the way, with others and with themselves. Gosh, we could have a whole episode on keeping agreements with yourself, sister. I'm telling you, that might be one that's coming up. But you're going to see really what is possible and how those agreements, how those relationships in their lives absolutely transformed the way their life is now and got them what they wanted. So that's over at drkarenosborne.com/live event. And then you'll have a chance to actually apply as well. Just like these women did, you're going to fill an application. You're going to click on the button that will actually be right below the movie, saying apply for the next live event. You click on the button. That'll bring you to an application form. It'll take you, it's like 7 questions. It'll take you probably 3 to 5 minutes. And then you and I will get on the phone within the next 48 hours and have a powerful conversation to really see if you are a fit. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more. It's just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.